This is not gonna be an easy task. If you're looking to put on 10 more pounds of muscle, it's gonna take time. So first and foremost, you gotta have a little bit of patience with this, and I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna break this video down into 2 parts. First part is gonna cover your nutrition and your recovery, and the second portion of it is gonna cover your training, all right? So when we discuss nutrition, when we talk about nutrition, 80% of gaining this 10 pounds of muscle is going to come from what you eat. The nutrition is gonna be the stimulus that tells your body what to do. So we're gonna be in a calorie surplus, we're gonna be putting on muscle, and the diet is gonna tell your body, hey, you need to add more muscle to this frame. Training is just gonna be that stimulus that reminds your body to do that, but the diet is what's actually gonna put it on. So the goal of this is to gain 0.25 pounds of muscle a week. Now that's half of a half pound of muscle. Again, not a fast process. So think about that. Half of a half a week. But this is real progress, real sustainable progress, which is what we're looking for. And again, not all of this is gonna be muscle. It's just the way it is. Unless you're on a ton of gear, you're not gonna be able to put on pounds of muscle a week. It just doesn't happen. Your body is only able to deposit a certain amount of amino acids every day towards muscle building. And once you cap that, there's nothing really you could do to go over that. So with that said, if our goal is to gain 0.25 pounds of muscle a week, we need to aim to gain about half a pound. We're gonna figure that half of it's gonna be body fat and half of it is gonna be muscle. It's just the way it works out. You can't just gain strictly muscle, not the way it works. But with a goal to gain 10 pounds of muscle, we have to keep in mind that every half pound we gain, half of that is gonna be muscle, half of that's gonna be body fat. But the cool thing is, at a later point, when you diet off the body fat, you'll be left with that muscle. So if that's the case, if we're looking to gain half a pound of weight on the scale per week, then what we need to do is we need to have an additional 1,750 calories at the end of the week to do that. So we need to be in a surplus of about 250 calories a day in order to do that. So we're gonna do that by one, you're gonna be tracking your calories. This is so important. People get lost in the minutia of this. How many carbs should I have? How much fat should I have? It doesn't matter. Calories are gonna be the stimulus. So for example, if you need 2,000 calories every day to maintain your weight and you eat 1,900, well then you're gonna be losing weight. However, if you eat 2,100 calories, then you're actually gonna be gaining weight. So we need to make sure that you're in that calorie surplus of, like I said, 250 calories extra every day to put muscle on, and the right amount. So with that said, we're gonna track just the calories. And if you're not gaining half a pound a week, then you need to bump up your calories until you're in that zone. So don't get lost, like I said, in the minutia of this. Don't worry about how many carbs, how much fats. Let your body auto-regulate that, meaning that if you feel like having more carbs one day, you can. If you feel like having more fats another day, you can. There's no real difference. It's not gonna matter when you're in a calorie surplus. However, the calorie limit is really gonna matter. So if, like I said, if some days you feel like having more carbs, that's fine as long as you hit your calorie intake. Second thing that's gonna be vital when it comes to your nutrition aspect of this is gonna be your protein intake. You need to be consuming adequate amounts of protein. Protein is vital for recovery, and protein is the building blocks of muscle. So whenever we eat protein, it's the building blocks of muscle. Your body breaks protein down into amino acids, and those are basically the bricks that are gonna build the wall and build your 10 pounds more muscle. Now, the second half of this is, like I said, your nutrition, but the part 1A is nutrition, part 1B here is recovery. So when we talk about recovery, we need to talk about sleep. There's so many studies on sleep, I'm not gonna go into it, but it's important that you get to bed and sleep enough. Now, what I've noticed and what has worked for me is going to bed early, trying to be asleep by 10 o'clock has really, really worked well. So this way I can get up early and go on. The main thing is you wanna make sure you're trying to get around 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Recovery and rebuilding process of muscle happens when you sleep. So it's important to get adequate amount of sleep. I'm not gonna talk about that any more than that. It's kind of common sense, but just make sure you do it. Go to bed early. Nothing good happens after 10 p.m. anyway. All right, second portion of this when it comes to recovery is making sure that you're eating enough protein. So 1 gram per pound of body weight is important. Protein is gonna help you recover. Protein is gonna be those building blocks for muscle. So it's important to get that in, but you need to make sure that you're getting in the adequate amounts of protein. All right? So that's the nutrition side of it. That's part 1A of this whole thing, right? The nutrition. So now we got the nutrition. That's how we're gonna gain 10 pounds of muscle nutrition-wise. Now, what do we do when it comes to training? Training is the stimulus to tell your body to build more muscle. That's what the training is gonna be. Now, people will always say, oh, if I'm trying to lose body fat or if I'm trying to put on more muscle, should I change my training up? It really doesn't matter. You should be training consistently year-round the same way all the time. So optimally, 2 days on, 1 day off is the best protocol that you could use because it's a perfect balance between recovery and between training stimulus. So meaning you're training 2 days on. So for example, let's just say, and I'll talk about the routine in a second. So you're gonna do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off. Then you're gonna go Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. And then it's just gonna keep rotating like that. The downside of this is that your days of the week are never static, it's never the same, which is kind of annoying. And sometimes you have to train on the weekends and whatnot. But the best part about this is 2 days of beating your body up, followed by 1 day of recovery, goes a long way when it comes to building muscle. And it's the perfect balance between stimulus and recovery. Let's talk about the routine. The best routine to put on 10 pounds of muscle quickly is a push-pull leg split. And again, done with the 2 on, 1 off split. So it would be push on Monday, pull on Tuesday, off. Thursday would be push again, and so on and so forth. That's the best routine. The reason why I like push-pull legs so much is because there's no overlap between body parts. And by doing 2 days on, 1 day off like this, you're gonna be training every body part every 4 days. So you're doing push on Monday, you're not touching push again until Thursday, and then another 4 days from there. It's the best, it's the most optimal way to do it. It's a perfect balance between stimulus and recovery. And now you understand why. So don't go crazy with it. Push, pull, legs. And I like this one again, like I said, because there's no overlap. Whenever you do any pushing movement, bench press, overhead press, triceps, they're all hitting those same body parts. So you're getting a big stimulus there. Now you let that area recover for 4 full days and then you hit that area again. Same thing with pull, same thing with legs. All right? Now, how many sets should you be doing? Best approach is probably around 8 sets per body part. Again, it's just what I found over years to work well. So you could play with that number, it could be a little bit higher, it could be a bit lower, but about 8 sets per body part is optimal when it comes to volume. All right? And how many reps should you be doing? 8 to 15 is the perfect range. Really no reason to go below 8. You can, I guess if you could really change the range, you'll probably be like between 6 and 15. But the only really movement that I really go heavier on in that 5 to 6 rep range is bench press. I feel like that's the best for stimulating your chest. But optimally is 8 sets per body part, around 8 to 15 reps. And that's it. So a little bit of a bonus here. You got to stay consistent. This is not a fast process. Half of a pound a week is the goal. That's not a lot of tissue over your whole body to actually gain. You're not going to see slabs of muscle come on, and you need to stay consistent because the more consistent you are, the better your results are going to be. If you're not consistent, if you do 2 days and then you take 4 days off, it's going to throw everything off. You need to constantly be stimulating, recovering, stimulating and recovering. And you need to be consistent doing that. It's the only way you're gonna be able to put on muscle. I've been training for over 20 years and you need to be consistently doing it. So if you think that you're just gonna do this for 12 weeks and then stop, it's probably not for you. And you should probably click off this video. All right, next thing, you gotta train hard, guys. You have to train hard. Stop pussyfooting around in the gym. Stop like with these looking for something that's optimal and just train hard. Keep a logbook, track what you're doing in the gym. Okay, last week I did this, and then this week go in and beat that workout. You need to train hard. I watch so many people online and they just train half-assed.
You wasted time.
I don't want you to do that. If you want to put on 10 pounds of muscle, you need to force this 10 pounds of muscle on. And the way you force this 10 pounds of muscle on is by training hard as hell. All right, so that's the blueprint to gaining 10 pounds of muscle. If you like this stuff, I have a free training program for you. You can pick that up below in the description. Free 6-week program, absolutely no strings attached. Go and pick that up. And until next time, this is Anthony, AB Fitness. I'll catch you on the next one.